adeboy fen anuncho dro loke mobo nalo manche kojomo gbile no le peji moni woja le non pe ngo obi oyeli ke bo mo fen kejo ombi Allahu ake kind play ke jo mo e dro mo ke mo na machine ke bagbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam no ke me fen wale ne ashe Islam ne mene gbine Islam e ba sho ngo e bi ombi Allahu ake he ni wato fan ye ewo bon eje he ni wo ye mu hu ye e ha wo shifi mo eje ombi la ke kind kudo ke Islam tempo no ke je ba che wo hu eche wo be mi ni woni chume kwakwa ese hia gbene Islam he jolengam ja assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh no jinga morning ke nga to ibule fen ke me ni ba na hegbe ni amba kwe ne ke gbenya no to ne no ye social media me ni se ochile na kaine wo ba kwe boni afio haje aha ni wo she gbiniji nyuma ye zulhijja nyono ni chumo ni achumo ye jeme jihi ni masuma ake maje nshikeje koni ni chumo ekrokume ni fata hiye wakeba agbene mingbala mo ekume huni yo wakeba agbene nyeme yiye kume huni nyumbodrumo na ame ya haje ame hu amebi ni bi mo ekume ni makwa akeke de kan ba hin wo hiye wo ba anye woji enema na ye mene ni kasemo minlo. We thank Almighty Allah for yet another opportunity to meet on this platform. Last week, we started looking at how to perform Hajj, and we recounted from the activities that will take place on the 8th day of Zulhijjah until the 10th day of Zulhijjah. Even on that day, the activities that one has to undertake, we mentioned them, but because it was in a rush, I would want to start from the activities one would have to undertake on the 10th day of Zulhijjah. And then I've also received a couple of questions from some of our women who inshallah will be performing Hajj this year. I'll attempt to answer those questions in the course of our presentation. Wagbiniji nyoma meniji noni afio kaimake Biniji ne hu ye Zulhijja nyono ni ujarafa oyawo Muzdalifa. Iwo okajeme ji echele lo wo jeme ji echele. Niji biniji nyoma ye Zulhijja nyono. Asumo ake ni oteshimanken ni osole fajiri ni ujimi nke yamina. Obalo tei ekume pao. Asumo ake olu na kainte ye Muzdalifa. Shikeji balake una lo dwemojohe no ashemina hu ni ona tene ye jeme na agba kokora behi obanye ni oyatwa na kante iyemiake kwen asumake olote ye Muzdalifa shikendo kuiwo ona ni obahala ne kente pawone ye Muzdalifa no lo ye mina hu na agba ko behi wo gbiniji nyuma ne ewo kejejeme oya mina oya jamrate heni atwate ye ni uba hena achola ake jamratul akaba kote obana ke boni afile wole fun feso na ake tenmash boni afile na kan itin aye klenklen no ni benke heni nyetente yo yemina keke te no keke no ni jieten ni no benke maka no jino na achola ake jamratul akaba ewo gbiniji nyuma ye Zulhijja nyono agbo eji noni lo jemeji hini aba atwateye ni shi pawo wo tene ikufen kwe ko ke Allahu akbar ke ofun Allahu akbar na kan shi pawo ke chala no jenu ofun fen ategu shikomen shikofun ekomi ke ko ofun no ni jienyo ahun ke ashi oba agbe shi pawo ena keji ogbe shi pawo ena keke miniji noni oba afi kogbeshi pawe na agbene uba ku itwe lo ba sho yi yejeme keji oshe o itwe lo ku itwe be twan ake mini na chin ni bi fen ni ba ogbeno be mi ni oyo ihrame aji fen ye ogbeno no se keji ofi hajja tamatue be saake o shanfoli isaake o shanfoli ni ton body ngbala mi e bi enyin so chile be pie affiliation shikane ayemeni ba around ni amba hiyo ni ama tawo koluye na ameshan afolie yo gba mi ya affiliation ase kedika ye ohi obashi mina ni oya maka ni uyafi noni acho lake tawaf al-ifada. Tawaf al-ifada noji tawaf ni yo hajj fi mo gbejano to wem. Means one ma fi le fan ye biake keji otwate ogbena ni okuo itwe je otia ke do gbiniji nyuma oya maka ni oya ni oya fi tawaf al-ifada asmo na kan shikeji ibalake nokuchiona ninu hewo ehi boya benuele obanye ni oya enoje chelimo logbiniji nyuma ke enyo logbiniji nyuma ke teka ogbi onichumo no ochuo ye minana ni oti maka obanyo ya fi tawaf al-ifada asumake biniji nyuma ofi shikeji ndokuchiona ninu hewo oya na kan gbile na agbakokrabe agbenu kai mu ake bemi no okuo itwe ihram na chini biye awoyo no ewo ebanye balake ni ogbene na ote otentemi oya juhu ochakuhi oje ihram ataliemi owu ataliko okulu obanye no ke ya fi tawaf al-ifada whether na kan gbile ju be kokulu ju be abonu otwate ye jamratul akaba no ku oitwe oje ihram ke gbejano to wemi iwo banye ni eku eboni o fi papa na kan no obanye no ke ya no ka fi o tawaf al-ifada lo banyo acha ko no watale kokulu no ke ya no ka fi tawaf al-ifada na gbakokura behi energy noni intawo ni wokadi ye gbiniji nyumano ye zulhijja nyono. So what are we trying to say? All that I said is that on the 10th day of Zulhijjah, after you have prayed the Fajr prayer at Muzdalifah, then you proceed to Mina, to Jamarat, where you go and throw the stone or the pebbles, as we say it. And you should know that there are three pillars. By the way it is built now, it's as if it is a well. So they are there. There is a one that is further away from Makkah. That is the smaller one. Then the middle one. Then the one that is close to Makkah in terms of the arrangement. So that is the bigger one. And that is the one known as the Jamrat al-Aqaba. That is where you'll be throwing the stone on the 10th day of Zulhijjah. So on the 10th day of Zulhijjah, the first one, the middle one, you will not throw anything there. You only go to the bigger one. That is where you throw the stone. So it is preferred that you pick 7 stones or pebbles from Muzdalifah as you proceed to Mina. If for whatever reason you forget or you did not pick them at Muzdalifah and still got to Mina, you can pick them at Mina and go and cast or go and throw it. There is nothing wrong with that, although it is preferred that you would have picked those 7 stones from Muzdalifah. So when you get to Mina, you go to the Jamarat al-Aqaba. That is the bigger of the biggest of the 3 pillars. That is where you throw the stone. So if you pick each one, you say Allahu Akbar, then you throw it. You do it diligently and in a dignified manner, not in a haste, not in a rush as we say it, but you take your time one after the other and then you throw it. Allahu Akbar, then you throw Allahu Akbar. The fact that you are stoning at Shaitan doesn't mean like what we see in the videos where someone will even pick their sandals and throw. No, that is not what you are going to do. So it is only these 7 stones that you are going to cast one after the other. After you have cast the 7 stones, then you shave your hair in the case of men, and in the case of women, you just cut a fingertip, the length of a fingertip of your hair. And that by so doing, it lifts all the restrictions or the prohibitions that were imposed on you because you were in a state of ihram. Now, after you have done that, you do your sacrifice. And as I stated here last week and even some time ago, usually the money is paid to some agents who go around and do the sacrifice on behalf of the pilgrims. So that is done. That is the third act on the 10th day of Zulhijjah. Then, if it is possible for you, I am using that expression advisedly because, one, on that particular day, the traffic situation from Mina to Makkah is very, very bad. And if you want to walk to Makkah and then walk back to Makkah, you may be very tired. You may even fall ill. And if you want to go by transport, apart from spending so much time in traffic, the amount of money you pay to be conveyed from Mina to Makkah and then from Makkah to Mina will be too exorbitant. So some people prefer that they do it some other time, and it is allowed. So you can go to Makkah on the 10th day of Zulhijjah and do your tawaf al-ifada, which is the tawaf of Hajj. You can wait the next day, the 11th, you go and do it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You can wait on the 12th day of Zulhijjah and go and do it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Even if you want to spend the 13th day in Mina, you can go after the 13th day and do it. Or you can wait when you leave Mina and go to Makkah and do your tawaf al-ifada, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's another point I want to stress, which is the fact that because you have had your hair shaved, it lifts all the restrictions of ihram on you. What it means is that you can even change your dress and put on another dress, which will not be these two towels that you use as your ihram, to go and do your tawaf al-ifada, and it is accepted, it is valid as far as Islam is concerned, because the moment you finish with the throwing of the stones and you shaved your hair, all the restrictions of ihram have been lifted from you, so you can wear any dress and then go and do it. So these are the 4 things you do in that order. But if for whatever reason you're unable to arrange them in that order, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Ewo ninchi tawaf al-ifada ta isake nkeneke mingbala mone hu ababona fi ni wote mekumeka fi wo hin ya. Ewo moni mfi hajja tamatu etomboni ngbala mi yebiye ibote ihrami ifi umra ni ije ihrami keje gbiniji paanyo ye Zulhijja nyono ni se bote ihrami ni ke fi hajj le hajj achole hajja tamatu moni mfi hajj al ifrad lo hajj al kiran tomboni wogbala mi yebiye ne ke gbomone keji iti yafi tawaf al ifada sa ifi mobe ke hale shimoni mfi hajja tamatu lekeji yafi tawaf al-ifada isake ifisa eji ibasa ton wogbala mi ebiomo ni se ochi enyon sa eji ibadamu safa ni ikehie ba chon kaba ni ibafi duao ni ba shije ke ba marwa keke jeme hu edomoje no ikehie chon kaba ifi duao kese ba safa eko nakanshi pawo no jino ni achola ke saye moni mfi hajja tamatue le peji moni fio ne kensa ini after ni efi tawaf al-ifada moni mfi hajj al-kiran moni mfi hajj al-ifrad ne kensa ini fi mu ibeke hale shi moni mfi hajja tamatue le peji moni ne kengbejano to ne yo ke hale. The point I just made is that, you see, there are 3 ways of performing the Hajj. When we started with this discussion about Umrah and all those things, we spoke about it. So the one who is performing Hajj Tamatu, he must take note of the point I am making now. And Hajj Tamatu means that the person performed Umrah, and so all the restrictions of Ihram were imposed on him or her. After performing the Umrah, then he left the state of Ihram by having the fingers clipped or by shaving the hair. So all the restrictions were lifted off him or her. Then on the 8th day of Zulhijjah, he or she entered into the state of Ihram again for the purpose of performing Hajj. So the one who performed Hajj in this way, the Hajj is known as Hajj Tamatu. So in the case of this person, when he does the tawaf al-ifada, which is the main tawaf of Hajj, what he is required to do is to do what is known as the sa'i. The sa'i, as we explained here about 2 weeks ago when we were talking about how to perform Umrah, is that he stands at Safa, he faces the Kaaba, he supplicates to Allah, and then moves to Marwa. He does the same thing there. From there, he moves again to Safa in that sequence for 7 consecutive times. So from Safa to Marwa is 1. From Marwa to Safa is another, making it 2. So in that order, 7 times. When he finishes with that, it means he has actually completed the process as far as the tawaf and sa'i for the Hajj Tamatu is concerned. When I came to Mone, Maka, whether on the 10th day Jew, on the 11th day Jew, on the 12th day Jew, on the 13th day, none yo minji Hajj ni ife ibafe tawafal ifada. Tawafal ifada no whether of Hajj al Kiran Jew, Hajj al Ifrad Jew, Hajj Tamatu Jew, ubafe tawafal ifada ejake ifata pilaye ni Hajj damono. Woke tawafal ifada neba o Hajj no fi, it is null and void ofiko. Shimoni mfi Hajj Tamatu keji eafe tawafal ifada akpagba ke ibafe sa'i kefatahi ejake efi uti kehale. Moni mfi Hajj al Kiran, Hajj al Ifrade le ne kesai ne fi mu beki hale. Shimoni mfi Hajj Tamatu kegbe tawafe na ni ibole Kaaba shi pawo efi tura ka se agbene akpagbe ake iba fi sai ne niji ibada musafa ekehin ba chon Kaaba ba fi do akete Marwa kehin chon Kaaba efi do ke se be ku na kan shi pawo egbe na for the day of the 10th day lo bi fe gbini e afi tawaf ne egbe na bini ji nyoma ke enyo ye zul hija nyono won kola ke ne ken gbomone e afi gbini ji nyoma ehin maka sheba kuise ni eba mina ekun ni eba wo mina ni eba wo mina ke jicheli biniji nyuma ke ekomie ni ishe wakti zawal nchwa ke hunue eba kanjile te niji bini akesolio zuru time lo keji ismo esoli zuru se ibashi itente min ni ibaya jamrate ni jeme keji iya eketei ekome nyomai enyo ke ekome 21 keji eshe tebi biwe no ibado mojeme Allahu Akbar keke fun ekome Allahu Akbar keke fun shi enyo ahun shi pawo keji efun shi pawo etan ekehin ba chon Kaaba ni iba fi duao ke fun ye bibiwe keke agbene enyi keba teniji enyon he jeme won ke se jeme ehien te bi fobite pawo na kan no keke Allahu Akbar keke ifo Allahu Akbar keke ifo Allahu Akbar keke ifo na kan shi pawo keji egbenu hu na eke ehien ba chon Kaaba na kan no ni iba fi duao keke enyi keti tewulu ehi niji jamratul akaba noni e atwate biniji nyuma ye zulhijja nyono jeme onkeshe jeme Allahu Akbar keke fonte Allahu Akbar shikpawo shikeji egbi jamratul akaba na jeme idamon jeme ni ibafi duao ibasole shi ibashi ni ibaya. What did I say? I said on the 11th day of Zulhijjah, the pilgrim around Waqt Zawal, that is when the sun is at the zenith of the day, or let's say when it is afternoon, noon, the time for Zuhur prayer, or immediately after the Zuhur prayer, this pilgrim will leave his tent and then go to the Jamarat where he is going to cast the stones. So he will pick 21 stones or pebbles, and he will start from the smallest of the 3 pillars. When he gets there, he is going to cast 7 stones at that pillar, like he did on the 10th day. But this time he's starting from the smallest of the 3 pillars. So he picks it one after the other. He says Allahu Akbar, and then he throws it. Allahu Akbar, then he throws it. Allahu Akbar, then he throws it. 7 times consecutively. When he or she finishes, he will stand facing the Kaaba and supplicate to Allah. Raise his hands in the air and supplicate to Allah. Then he will move from that pillar and go to the middle pillar. Picks another 7 pebbles that he has with him or her and cast them one after the other. Allahu Akbar, then he throws it. Allahu Akbar, then he throws it. 7 times. When he finishes at the 2nd pillar, he still stands facing the Kaaba with the hands raised in the air, and then he supplicates to Allah. Then from there, he moves to the biggest pillar, which is the Jamrat al-Aqaba. That was where he cast the stone on the 10th day of Zulhijjah. And then he cast them one after the other. Allahu Akbar, then he throws it. Allahu Akbar, then he throws it. 7 times. But when he's done with the biggest pillar, he doesn't stand and make supplication like he did at the smallest one, the middle one. No, when he does at the biggest one, he finishes and then he moves and goes back to his tent and does whatever is lawful as far as Islam is concerned, because that is the only obligation that is required. Remember that those days are known as the days of Tashriq for the throwing of the stone. So that is particularly the work that he or she does. Somanyeme wogbiniji nyuma ke komiene ni chumo poten otini yo ke hale ye Hajj beja no to emi no ne ewo okola ke egbena ewo no ne yo fi mo ji ena ekashin ewo ji echele gbiniji nyuma ke enyo ebane nale ye Zulhijja nyo no ebane nale ye mina no hu eba me shwane kaji eshe bini akesoli ozuhuru eni isoli zuru etan wona ake bia ne boni me yifa hewo me ba ko wote imlani wa twashan ye be na ake fio no fe no be ye ni nyumbo ke petehi wo mo twinshi ni ke na kan mle twa ashe oya ni oya fi ye ebiame wo ome osoli zuru ogbena ni jigbiniji make enyon no ho keke oti jamarate bono fi egbiniji nyuma ke ekomi no na kan no ohietei ekomi nyuma enyoke ekomi 21 obaje nshike baje bibiwe Allahu Akbar keke otwa shi pawo ko otwa lololo okwo hin etwon ka ba odamoshin ofi duwa owo ninu ekoyo ofi duwa ko gbena ote teniji enyon no ni yote no hu oyafon shi pawo Allahu Akbar shi ekume fe ekume Allahu Akbar ko fun ko twate pawo no gbena no ko hin etwon ka ba na kan no owo ninu ekoyo ofi duwa keke agbene oshin keba ewulu jemen ko she Allahu Akbar ko fun Allahu Akbar ko fun na kan shi pawo ke ogbena ye pila wulu he no ele odamon shin ni oba fi duwa keke oshin keke oti otentemi ona gbile ni gbiniji nyuma ke enyon gbeme ye ke habo keji osumo ake oshimina shikeji ohahunu enyoshi ni oyemina be nuele osumojio osumojo isaake owo koni enoje chele mo oya no atrate wo keji otawo ni oshin mina nile ni kashin ne mla ni yo hieji be isaake oshin dani hunu anyoshin biniji nyuma ke enyo ye Zulhijja nyono shikeji ohahunu enyoshin ni oyemina no oshikwe be nu elo ba awo koni enoje chelemu ni jigbiniji nyuma ke eten ni okeshin ko ba Qur'an ni suratu Bakara po he ni nyumo wiye mu mo ke ona ekwe na agbako ye no ho shion shi bia na echonto mo fashion mo fe mo ke te haje ka na gbiniji nyuma ke enyo no oba na ka men ko organize se nye ke ba sa ba wo nto wa ya maka ni afio ka ashi ogbini dwuma kete mokoni na achi noko eba ni ndo ho asani ehimina keya maka lenyungwe ngmelegba ake gbiniji nyuma ke enyu eshi sibia na ya tonton mo femo ke gbiniji nyuma ke enyu hye no wonto wo shi mina ni woya maka sando na valid reason he woni utawo no shin shije ako benyumo ka ba anya shi wo ninshi je na kanji boni afiole ke uhani hunu enyoshi ni oyejeme benuelo ba ahinshi ke ashi enoje chelemo no hunhwane keke oya atwate keke agbene oshi kete maka. So on the 12th day of Zulhijjah, you do as you did on the 11th day of Zulhijjah. You pick your 21 pebbles or stones, small stones. You go to the Jamarat. You start with the smallest one. You cast it one after the other. As you throw, you say Allahu Akbar, then you throw. So when you are done with the 7 at the smallest one or the smallest pillar, you stand, you raise your hands in the air, facing the Qibla, the Kaaba, and then you supplicate to Allah. Then you move from that pillar to the middle one. You pick 7 out of the 14 remaining pebbles that you have. You throw it one after the other, Allahu Akbar, then you throw it, Allahu Akbar, then you throw it 7 consecutive times. After that too, you stand facing the Qibla and supplicate to Allah. Then after that, you move to the biggest or the greatest of the 3, and then you throw your stones one after the other, Allahu Akbar, then you throw it. So 7, you are done. When you finish, then you go to your tent. The order is that you should have spent that night, which will be Islamically be known as the 13th night, in Mina. But if you have valid reasons, not as it has become the norm now, that everyone wants to leave Mina after throwing the stones on the 12th day. If you read the context of the Quran, it is a permissible thing to do, but you have reasons why you are in a haste to leave Mina and go. So if you have those reasons, you can leave. But if the sun sets on the 12th day of Zulhijjah, whilst you are still in Mina, you have not taken off, then you will be required to spend that night again in Mina. And then the following day, which will be the 13th day of Zulhijjah, around noon, you go to the Jamrat and then cast the stones. But if you are able to leave before sunset on the 12th day of Zulhijjah, it means you are done. So you go to Makkah, and then the only remaining thing for you to do will be your Tawaf al-Wada. That is the farewell Tawaf. Anytime you are ready to leave Makkah to your home country. And after you are done with the activities in Mina, if you've already done your Tawaf al-Ifada, it doesn't matter when you want to leave, whether the next day or 2 days after, you can leave to your home country. So my nyeme, agbene na ni bi mo ekomeni nyeme ni waja audio say wo ha amebi ake na yu kuni taflache ekwe wa mi lo taflache etitwanse lo efo fomo se la ni huo mba neke yu ne miniji noni ibafi keji ashemi kate na ke mi kate ajuohi ni abotio ihrami iwoneke yu ne miniji noni ibafi wosumake no feno woke no mimani yo he abejake nimode nche wie Quran me ake hatu burhanukum in kuntum sadikin kenye no mima ni twa aka afio na kan doku aba keji anokwale ji no wie woke oba hadith na chola ake sahih muslimi oba na wie moko yeje ake bemeni Asma binti Umais radiyallahu anha bemeni ifo Muhammad bin Abubakar na kan bia me ifole heku na choje make ashajara ibenke mikate ni ay hajj biamin balo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi eju ehibon wole gusule ni afio koni enyese kea ni akafi hajj ni ton boni nwie ye bie be mini gbala hajj gbejano to embe mini ntwake Aisha radhiyallahu anha le denche hu ekwe wa mi ni iyare ho ni ifo ni gbala okelake hajj gbejano to e oba anyo fifen no ni peni nyen fi peji enyen ni iboli kaba ni ifi tawaf iwona kan no pepeji boni iyole na kan no huji yoni ekun ewa mi lo taflache efofo mosela ni huo eba ne ken ru neji no ni yo ke hale ni ibanye ni ifi moko hu bi mi ake anikeji yoe ni ebote ihrami na achon na achi ni bi pi ni yo ani ibanye wo non blofo mi achola ke juwere ne ke june ne ni akesa he ne ani ke yu eye ihrami ibanye ewu na kan lokolo ibanye ni ewu ni ikesa ehi keji ejinoko ni ewu okese ehi to boni abi na Aisha radhiyallahu anha ke joni ihrami ibanye efi na kan lo ni iha hetu ake ibanye fi na kan iba fi na kan pepepe agbene moko hu bia ke ewo le echiwe hie momo ke bote ihrami ani ibanye ni echie hie lo dabi enyen echie hie ton boni gbalo Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ke ye ake ke ame ihrami ameka chiame hi na ameka wo gloves iwoni ken ni bi mo etene heto ni yo hene. So those who receive audio, some of the women who inshallah will be performing Hajj asked these 3 questions that I want to respond. I've responded to them, but I want to respond to it on this program. So one asks whether if you are in your state of menstruation and you are required to take the ghusl, the bath at the miqat, what do you do? And I am citing a precedence, and you can find these precedents in Sahih Muslim when Asma binti Umays radhiyallahu anha gave birth to Muhammad bin Abu Bakr, and these took place at a place known as Ash-Shajara, and it was close to the miqat. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked her to take the bath and accompany them on the Hajj. So the same ruling applies to the woman who is in her menses or the woman who is still experiencing blood flow after she has been delivered of her baby. She does the same thing. She takes the bath, and then after taking the bath, she proceeds with them to perform the Hajj. Just as Rasulullah sallam told Aisha radhiyallahu anha when she inquired or she was crying because she was in her menses, and Rasulullah sallam told her that she shouldn't be sad because she can perform all the rites of Hajj except the tawaf. So this woman, this is what you do. Then someone also asked, can a woman who is in ihram use jewelry? Then I said yes, she can use it, as the same question was put to Aisha radhiyallahu anha, and she said yes, a woman in the state of ihram can use the jewelry if it is part of her way of dressing, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And someone also inquired whether she could cover her face during the ihram. The answer is a big no, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the women who are in a state of ihram, they should not cover their faces and they should not wear gloves. So these are the responses to those questions, and because of time, we may end it here. Inshallah, if we are live and we happen to meet next week, we'll look at the ziyarat, the visitations that can be undertaken during Hajj, and then we'll also look at the excellence of the month of Zulhijjah, because remember, next week will be 27th day of Zulqa'dah. It means we'll be 2 days or 3 days away from Zulhijjah. So inshallah, when we meet next week, we'll look at the excellence of the month of Zulhijjah and the things we can do therein. Thank you very much for your attention.